Hi-ho, amigos. Welcome to FFB. And believe it or not, this is the second time I'm making this video. Because I made the first video making a perfect case as to why Chelsea fans, technically, tactically, physically, on football terms, don't want Enzo Fernandez in the team. And I can't believe I forgot a lot of the real human side of things, the leadership side of things, the professional side of things. So we're going to start with that one on this time around. This summer, my mama said some weird stuff when joining the team. We're going to ignore that. New guy, whatever. Well, the part we're not going to ignore is all the craziness that happened when on international duty. And, I'm not going to get too much into it. But yes, it was disrespectful for football. We do expect better. We like the banter and all that, but you can leave that to the stupid fans to say. And especially nowadays when it includes racist or xenophobic comments. I'll tell you this, guys, I'm South American. It's crazy down there. And I don't actually believe that every person that says that has evil in their heart. They do have evil in the sense that when they're saying it, they just want to say whatever they can to hurt and destroy whoever and offend their opponent. That's terrible and it needs to be eradicated. And whether you mean to be racist or not, or xenophobic, if you're being and chanting, then it's not going to cut it. There's no room for that in football. And then when you're at the player level, certainly, and then when you're at you are the world champion level, then even more so. And then when you're doing it, when you beat a team that is not even playing, come on now. Now you're just being stupid. And then if you're an elite footballer, world-class footballer, to not have the common sense to not record that, okay. And then when you're an elite footballer, they don't have the common sense to record that, then to post it, you're a complete imbecile. And that, to me, just takes you out of the running to be considered a serious player. And then on top of that, you're doing it trashing a nationality, and we know it's a lot of the foreign and black players and just the recent generation French descent players, which is already a thing that was an issue in 2 World Cups ago that people were bashing on the French over that, and even the president, the prime minister of France, or president or whatever, came out and made a whole fuss. It was like a whole thing. The lack of self-awareness is shocking, and that's one thing that I don't think till this day I've forgiven Enzo Maresca for, which is making this Jack Wang the captain as soon as he comes back. And I think not only did not achieve anything to help, maybe it did something in the locker room, which I really hope it did, is to ensure that player does not get ostracized, which he could have and probably even should have. But I think he might have sacrificed a lot of other people's well-being. I just hope he managed it humanely in the room. They were able to air it out. But to make him captain is just stupid. And as a Caicedo fan and a fellow Ecuadorian, that guy is already a captain and has been for a long time. And he has been a captain in Chelsea, in my opinion, through his performances. Yeah, he's not a JT. English is not his first language. We got to give him some time. We'll know if we'll see that. But absolutely him, or even Cucurella, or even Caldwell. Although I'm not been that much of a fan lately when he played out the back the last couple of games. But certainly not that guy, and certainly not then. I mean, come on. Why would you do that, Enzo Maresca? And that put him in a bad place. So now, some people are going to hate him. Some people are sensitive to that kind of thing. And it really felt undeserved. And people don't like it when people get things undeserved. Forget, that it was like the opposite, like the wrong thing to do. It was opposite. So that's what's created, I think, didn't create, but it is exacerbated how fans feel about Enzo Fernandez. So that's just made it harder. He's already carrying the price tag on his back, and he's already carrying the world champion label on his back, the Argentina world champion label on his back that he hasn't been able to live up to. Then you give him the Chelsea armband, which that's just too much weight. I'm assuming Enzo Maresca thought this guy is just going to step up, but that was too much pressure on the kid. He doesn't have the quality and the qualities or the skill. So on that, in that regard, horrendous and a terrible decision. Um, Now getting into the play. Again, I thought his transfer. Look, I'm gonna make this up because I'm too lazy to look at the stats right now. But he played a very short amount of time in Portugal. He was in River Plate very soon before then. Just a few games, and he came quick to Chelsea, and that made it difficult for him. But he had a good first season, if you ask me. But then in the second, things got a little tighter. Competition came along. Good players came in. And both in the system that Pochettino played and certainly now with Maresca, the stats have been horrendous when he plays. That's just the reality, man. It's the reality. I think our win rate drops, our amount of goals that we score drops, the amount of goals that we concede drop. He's actually better on the eye test. And the eye test, he looks good. We don't look that bad. The results on there, like even at the surface level, fans, we notice that. But the stats are really bad, really, really bad. And every time he's out, we do better. And supposedly he was carrying an injury, and that's kind of why we forgave him for the longest time. And I don't know what the excuse is now. I think we're out of excuses. So, I see that there's no future for him. And it's more than justified that Chelsea fans don't like him. So make a comment right now. If you guys he needs to play, please comment play or bench. It's not even on the cards because we got these guys on very long contracts. Would you swap him? Would you trade him? Would you sell him? Would you send him out on loan? I think actually the way he plays, he's better suited for a different league. I think he would do really well in Serie A, where they still have sort of room, a slower pace for the playmakers to keep the team ticking, and maybe even La Liga in a team like Barcelona. I think he'd do great. I don't think there's room with all the injuries they had. There's probably room for him now, but I don't think we would ever get the money that we need. Is there room for him in Chelsea moving forward? I don't think the fans want to see him anymore. We're done. I think we like having him as an option coming in, or if things are going wrong. And certainly, the only way there'll be room for him is if Maresca makes room. Now, what I've been thinking about, I don't think this is ever going to happen because we're not playing football like that in the last few years, was if we do a diamond midfield, right? And then there are two things that they would allow. The deep-lying midfielder, the sort of sweeper in there would have to be Lavia, Caicedo on the right of the diamond, and Fernandez on the left, like we saw Frank Lampard a long time ago. And then Palmer in the 10. In that diamond formation, I would really like it. And even if it's with two tens, right, behind the striker, with the ability of them being able to go wide. Because Caicedo it'll allow James to bomb forward if we play him again on the right, if that's ever going to happen again, if we're not scared to allow him to play. And Caicedo would be really good at covering the right back. And now he can be covered with Lavia on his right, and behind him, he can be a deep-lying playmaker, finding those spaces. And obviously, Caicedo would shine as a box-to-box 8 on the right-hand side. It was something we saw Kante do under Sarri in a different formation, but you get the idea. Maybe 5 in the back is not crazy either. I think Kukureya would be amazing doing that as well. Anyway, the point here is that for him to find a place, we would have to have, it seems like a different tactic, a different position, and a different setup. And it doesn't look like Maresca is going to do that now. I think at least Maresca is not as stubborn anymore and is not going to play him as much. So yeah, we're not out to get him. And I think some fans are. And I'm not mad at them. I wouldn't care if he were to be left off. And I don't care if he later becomes Toni Kroos or whatever. He's just not that for Chelsea. And that happens sometimes. And if that's the case, it would be a second year, right? If he doesn't become this amazing player this year, or worthy of a start this year, then yeah, he could be a squad player, and that's it. Um, so if it would be reasonable to expect that we'd get a decent amount of money, would we be able to move him? I wouldn't even be against moving him. And I think a lot of Chelsea fans are just overly upset because of that. Because Maresca made it worse by throwing him down, jamming him down our throats, not in a good way, and having to see this guy with the armband after all that without any perceived punishment, at least, or him making up to it. But hopefully, like again, he did it in the locker room. So yeah, we're not. I don't think Chelsea fans on are completely on a mission to destroy or kill or hate this guy, especially now that he's not starting. I think we can love him again, and he can start making an impact off the bench when needed, helping us control games if that's he's going to do, and hopefully find his way back into the team. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. This is a big one. It's an important one, and please like and subscribe so I can keep making these videos and having these conversations every week. That's all for today. Have a good one, everybody, and come on, you Blues.